Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up. The line's wrapped around the stadium. Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill. Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back. I love.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome into a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. Friday, for the show. Last day of the week.
What?
Last day of the week. Lloyd and Stewie are out, which means we have no producers in sight. Katie can't do it. I can't do it. So we're going to shut it down tomorrow.
We could try.
We are going to talk to Chris Blair on our Metropolitan Health phone line. Remember, our phone line daily brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Daily, we are built by RMB Builders. Rhett Bourgeois and the crew over at RMB, RMB-Builders. Or, of course, you can find them on Instagram. Great post yesterday by Rhett and RMB.
I know, I saw
keep
that.
up with them. That was a good one.
Their stuff is looking good.
You're welcome. Jump inside of the chat if you want to over on YouTube. As we said, we appreciate you being there. LSU is going to be in Athens, one of the great college towns in Athens, Georgia. They will be taking on the Bulldogs for a 3-game set that begins today. As Paul Skeens will be on the mound versus Jarvis Evans for the Bulldogs, who is a freshman. He's got a 4.67 ERA, so LSU, hopefully this should be a typical Game 1 scenario for the Tigers where they usually look like the national champs in Game 1. It's been what's happening after that has been the most concerning part. We'll talk to Blair about bullpen issues and what he expects from LSU on this last regular season playing weekend.
That's wild.
Of the baseball
In
season.
itself.
It is.
I can't
flown
believe
by.
this.
Carpool Queen is here.
I'm so jealous of these game times too. It's 5 o'clock today, 5 o'clock tomorrow, 12 o'clock Saturday.
They're in the Eastern Shore.
No, it's Central.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Central time. 5,
Georgia?
5, and 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, 4 o'clock first pitch today. In
Wait,
Athens?
what? Are they in Central time? I'm so confused. Are they not in Central time?
They're in Eastern time, right?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Athens,
that's-
Georgia.
I don't think so. Right?
I mean, isn't Tennessee?
Athens, Georgia.
Tennessee's
definitely
at Central
is
time.
I
Eastern
don't know.
time
Somebody
zone.
tell us. I thought it was Central.
I mean, Google.
No. We are in the Central.
well, I
time
know
zone.
that.
No, I'm talking about Georgia.
Right. Like
Right.
what time zone Georgia is located
Georgia
in.
is definitely located in the Eastern time zone.
I don't know.
I mean, it's on
Is
the
it?
Eastern.
You-
It's on the East Coast.
It is in
Okay.
I mean, Atlanta's
Eastern
Coast
time.
So then 6 p.m. for them, 5 p.m. Central.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That makes more sense.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right.
I like a
Still.
5-star. I like a
Still,
5
I
p.m.
like
start.
a 5. Still, 6
All
o'clock
right,
starts
for God's
fine,
sakes,
right?
man.
But
Time zones
Tennessee's
throw
in-
me off.
Tennessee is in the
Yeah,
Central
clearly
time
me
zone.
too.
Oh, time zone is looked like Arabic to me, dude.
I know. I don't understand it. I hate it.
The best thing about it is you don't have to participate if you don't want to, and everybody just continues to do it.
Wait,
Well, didn't they
that's
try to
daylight
vote it out?
savings time. Y'all are
Didn't-
getting it confused with daylight
Didn't
savings
Congress?
time.
Okay.
We
okay,
can't
okay.
change a time zone,
Okay.
an actual time zone.
Why not? What's the difference?
I mean, that
That's
wouldn't
just-
work,
That's
like-
just the first domino to fall.
Logan Brazina, good Lord, the game starts at 6 o'clock in Georgia and 5 o'clock
I knew
in
y'all would
Baton
help us
Rouge.
out.
Thank you, Logan. Where have you been for the last 10 minutes? All right, that was painful.
That was painful.
First
were
pitch
right.
is when?
6
6
p.m.
o'clock.
Eastern, 5 p.m. Central.
Hit that like
3
button,
p.m.
share button,
Pacific.
comment button as we will be here with you until Smiley Kaufman's going to be here at 8:30 this morning, and we will get a preview for the PGA Championship, which begins today. And his buddy Jordan Spieth seemingly would be a favorite there, but it seems like he's dealing with some injury issues as he may have a wrist problem that is hampering him going into this major. We'll talk to Smiley Kaufman, who is going to be on the call for NBC coming up this week for the PGA, as he will be working that event. And we'll talk to him about what's going on the tour. He's a really cool resource to be able to tap into for golf, and we'll do that at 8:30 this morning, as it is day one of the PGA Championship for the pros. So
Cordell says they're about to talk about y'all on Tiger Droppings, grown-ass folks not knowing Georgia's Eastern time. It was only me that didn't know. Jordy knew.
yeah, I was
That
pretty
on me.
confident.
You were.
You were.
I mean,
You were competent.
but y'all were shaking my
I know,
confidence
because
towards the
I'm
end.
thinking about it, and I'm like, no way, is it? But
Well,
clearly.
my only concern is that Tennessee is Central Time, and it feels like they're kind of in the same.
I know. I
Who?
need a map.
Tennessee is Central Time.
Tennessee.
Well, okay. I mean, I think the cutoff is like I'm not
It
getting into
switches
this.
somewhere
It's like
in Tennessee.
it's
oh
like-
wait,
you know what the
because
be-
Knoxville is in Eastern time because we were in
See?
Nashville and we drove over to Knoxville and it switched there.
There you
so
go, Katie. There you go, Katie. Katie's starting to finally
I can't
starting to
believe
wake
we're
up.
still talking about this, though.
Finally
I'm
starting
sorry.
to wake up.
The best way to think about it is ACC, SEC would pretty much, and that's like the delineation. That's how they did it
Okay.
in
I
my
like
mind
it.
until they changed.
As many times as LSU fans have been to Atlanta, I mean, that was my bailout.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Right.
done a lot of traveling to Atlanta over
True.
the years following LSU, and I know for a fact
I'm not
that
gonna
we
be
are
an
on
hour
the
late.
Eastern time zone because it has haunted me
Where am
and
I?
crushed me at times.
An hour
Well,
late.
yeah, I'm here. What do you mean I'm here?
It's halftime.
Absolutely, I'm here. I thought I was going to be a little early for the 6 o'clock start at 5:45. Yeah, you would have been, but we're on Eastern time zone.
Sorry, the game is
It's been
over.
fun. It's
Right.
been fun.
All right, so good debate coming up with, and we'll talk LSU baseball here with Blair coming up with LSU and Georgia. But I don't know where this started. Lloyd, help me out on this. Was this Twitter of the debate of LSU 2019 and the 2021 Georgia defense?
Yeah,
so
CBS
tired
put
of
it out.
that.
Well, this is what happened.
What's
Slow news.
off-season, Kate?
Yeah,
I
slow
know,
news.
Wake
but
up to the
my
off-season.
God.
Wake 'em to the offseason.
Yeah, so they put that out. It's always the reason that this debate should be over by now is every time that they try to pick a new team, it's always
LSU?
2019 LSU.
Yes.
And then they're like 2020 Bama versus 2019 LSU,
know.
2021 Georgia versus 2019 LSU. Well, if you keep picking one, it seems like that's the one that probably should win most of the time, if not all the time. But Lane Kiffin quote tweeted it, and that's why it picked up traction. And he was like, 2019 LSU, Joe B.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're on the LSU side of this argument, which the majority of the people listening to this podcast, I'd imagine is,
Unless you're on the Eastern time zone.
Depends on
which
what time
starts in
zone you're in.
Tennessee and dips into Alabama,
Cuts into Florida.
right there at the Panhandle.
Don't get into mountain time. That'll really confuse the
oof.
hell out of you. Ooh, I don't even
Yeah,
know.
it's 420 somewhere.
And then when you bring Arizona into the question,
Oh,
because
God.
some of Arizona doesn't even.
do a time zone.
That's
experience.
daylight savings time
I
now.
know.
There's still going to be a time zone, but daylight savings time they are not messing with.
Okay,
Almost dropped an
Okay.
F word, but real early, way too early.
watch yourself,
Watch
know.
out.
Joey Sco and the crew over at WAFB.
I know.
Like Cracker
Gotta be
Whip.
careful.
But yes, this argument always does go back to the 2019 LSU
Probably
squad.
should say the F word instead of that.
I can't imagine a college football team. Really, for me, it was always the 2001 Miami Hurricane squad.
Whoa, you're way back.
Way
You're
back.
going way
But I
back.
mean, like, if you start rattling off the pros that was on that team on the 2001 squad, it's a lot like LSU in 2019. Like, it's got like the headliners of like Willis McGahee and Andre Johnson and Sean Taylor. Ed Reed. I mean, it's got like some guys where you're like, whoa. I mean, it's got Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and, Grant Delpit, where you're like, damn. I mean, they were loaded. But it also has these guys like offensive linemen like Sadiq Charles that you look up and as a starter in the NFL. Guys like Patrick Queen, that was the leader on the team that's, one of the standouts in the NFL. Derek Stingley, maybe one of the best true freshmen ever to play college football, and the third overall pick in the draft was on that team. I mean, there's just the more you look at these teams, and LSU 2019 to me supplanted that 2001 Miami squad because of just the amount of play. It just came down to the players. It came down to the amount of players that squad had, and for every debate that any college, to me, the best debate between 2019 LSU would be the 2001 Miami team. That would be the team and the game that, I mean, I would pay, good Lord, I don't even know where I would stop my price to say, look, you got an opportunity to watch these two teams play in their prime tonight on a neutral at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how much money would you pay to watch that game? 2001 Miami versus 2019 LSU on a, just a uber neutral environment.
Who's taking it?
Way, way, way away from both home stadiums, and let them just
2019
play.
LSU.
I would take 2019 LSU just because I'm super biased. But I mean, if I'm on the other sideline at Miami, I'm feeling really confident. You know, I mean, all these other debates, you know, even like the 2020 Alabama team, that 2019 LSU team would beat that squad by 3 touchdowns. You know, and I mean, I hate to speak so arrogantly about it, but I mean, it got to a point really after that 2019 Alabama game that season where, I mean, even Burrow said it. We had him one off the bench 3 weeks after the season. I think I asked him, at what point did you know that y'all were as good as you were? He said, when we left Alabama, we were never getting beat. We weren't going to lose. And it got to that. It felt like that. I mean, think about it. Even in the Clemson game, in the national championship game when they went down, I was there. I was in the audience that night. I mean, I never was threatened that, I mean, when LSU was down, I was talking trash to Clemson fans. Like, they're like putting their little $2 bills in my face. And I'm
I
like,
have a couple of those.
You
from
got
that
no
game.
idea, man. Like, this thing, it just hadn't gotten cranked up yet. All their families are here. They were partying, like, I guess, a couple of nights before the game. They're about to beat the brakes off of you. And in a blink of an eye, you know, it's over.
Man, they were so confident, though.
So, I mean, I love these debates because it's great fodder for LSU. I mean, when you got Lane Kiffin quote tweeting and talking about LSU, that's good for recruiting.
Well, yeah, it is.
You know, I mean, like, it doesn't, you know, it probably won't flip a quarterback, but, I mean, it just, everybody recognizes that for how crazy this is. I mean, especially if you are an LSU fan in today's age where LSU suffered through the ice ages of offensive football. I mean, like, it felt like 100-year drought to get first downs and throw the ball down the field, right? To now have pretty unanimously the best college football team and without argument, the best offense of all time in college football.
So why is it still up for debate all the time? That's wild to me. I mean, like every Instagram account I pull
this is
up.
CBS Sports. I mean, like they're just looking for
Content.
Looking for this.
Yeah.
They did it. Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us go. Because they know they can always poke the LSU bear. They know
Right.
that LSU.
Everybody does.
Right. That we're gonna pound the table. Anybody from Louisiana, that's we're so defensive of. That's the greatest team of all time. At Orgeron, all of the things that Jordy listed, to where it's not debatable. The only team that is probably comparable is that Miami team. But even then, LSU fans would point to Joe Burrow versus Ken Dorsey.
Yeah.
And you can't. It's hard to compare eras because of the way offenses have changed.
Yeah.
So LSU would probably beat them depending on the construct of
They
time,
probably
what
would.
time zone they're in.
When Cody Boudreaux said, what time zone would the game be played in?
If we're playing in the Rose Bowl, Cody, that would be West Coast time. West Coast time is what, 3 hours behind us? Told you so.
Pacific.
I'm looking at this Miami 2001 squad.
Andre Johnson.
Clinton Portis, Frank Gore were the two running backs.
Willis
on this
McGahee
team.
was
Willis
the third
McGahee
string.
was the third string back on that team that actually snapped his leg in the national championship game. Najee Davenport was the fullback who had an incredible pro career.
Where did he go?
Jeremy Strachey went to the Green Bay Packers.
He played for the Packers. Shockey, of course, was on that team. Walter Payton's son was on that team. Jarrett Payton was on that squad.
Legacy offer.
Turned out to not be that bad. Vince Wilfork was on that team. Maybe the best
That might have
defensive
been a
lineman over
problem.
the last
Yeah.
30 years in the NFL.
Who was the wide receiver opposite Andre Johnson?
It's 2 hours. Pacific time is 2 hours. Did you say 3?
I did say
Because
3.
they're all in here saying 2 hours.
I did
so
say
it would
3.
be-
We're
I
in
was just trying to
Georgia.
get a reaction from y'all. Chill out.
Where's Steve Caparano?
Did I say 3? I meant 2.
I'm on my time. How about that?
It was not Santana Moss. Entrell Roll was a defensive back on that team. Mike Rump was a defensive back on that team.
He's getting
DJ
torched.
Williams was a linebacker on that team. Ed Reed was the safety on that squad. Sean Taylor was a true freshman on that team. Philip Buchanan was a first-round draft pick,
But just
defensive
like
back
Lloyd
on that
said,
squad.
The game has changed.
Yeah, but those
So
guys
that's
can
not
play.
a
in
Yeah,
the
but
really
those
good
guys, you can drop them
comparison.
in any era.
You think so?
Hell
yeah.
yes.
But like the mechanics of the 2019 LSU team versus the 2001
That
Miami
defense
team.
can run with anybody.
No, I'm telling you, it
Sean
would be,
Taylor would get ejected in
it would be
2019, though.
It would be incredible. It would be an incredible game. I mean, it'd be a one-score game.
That would be wild,
It'd
right?
be a one-score game.
You'd have to have LSU's defense show out. You need a turnover. short field. Great. Need some special teams too.
Who was the wide receiver? It was not Santana Moss, because my buddies and I, we went to my friend Jesse McCormick. His dad was the he ran the state police for a while, so he always had great tickets to all these events. And he had tickets to the 2000 Sugar Bowl, which was Florida versus Miami, and that was Butch Jones. Was it Butch? Not Butch Jones. Butch Davis. Mm-hmm. Butch Davis, the Miami coach. It was his last game as the Miami head coach, and you could see how good that team was going to be the next season. Because in 2000 at the Sugar Bowl, that was like Santana Moss. He was on that team, but like Andre Johnson was young. What they didn't have was a quarterback. Who's a quarterback? Ken Dorsey?
Ken Dorsey, that's what I said. It's Ken Dorsey versus Joe Burrow. That's that's the debate.
Right.
Because, well, it's actually Joe Burrow versus defense that you think about it, but that would be your argument for, if you're an LSU fan, you'd have to hope you could outscore them.
Roscoe Parrish was the other wide receiver.
I knew it was somebody that could Roscoe Dash, somebody that could fly.
He could fly. Yeah. Kellen Winslow was a true freshman on that team.
Oh, he's a problem.
He's doing hard time now. But I mean, when we were just talking about him as a football player,
he's a soldier.
Why is he doing time for real?
He's a rapist.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh God.
That's why he said hard time. He was openly masturbating in the locker room.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
He's got
Why?
some serious
He
issues.
would,
Just with all the guys in there?
And he would openly
what's the
watch
point?
pornography in there, and they were like, he's just different. And he
And
was
then
such
he raped
a
people?
such a head case that nobody would really say anything. Like, I'm not worth it.
Really?
It's just not worth saying anything because
So
they'll come at you.
what was the final straw?
I think the literal rape.
Literal rape.
Yeah. Great.
I mean, he was doing some stuff like some. I want to say like elderly. It was bad.
It was
It's a
bizarre.
Really?
terrible
Yeah,
story. It's a terrible story.
Probably CTE related at some point.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yikes.
But Burrow versus that 2001 defense would be incredible, man. I mean, that would be worth the price of admission for me. I still like LSU.
Of course.
Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. As we say, we'll be here with you until 9 a.m. this morning. We'll talk to Chris Blair at 8 a.m. We're going to talk to Smylie Kaufman coming up here at 8:30. Some big news concerning this year's college football season, and one of the impact players in the transfer portal, Louisiana native, Southwest Louisiana native, Keon Coleman made his decision yesterday, and the 6'4", 215-pounder will have 2 years of eligibility remaining at Florida State. He chose Florida State after putting his name into the transfer portal out of Michigan State, where he is a big-time playmaker and was a 4-star recruit back in the 2021 class. He was one of the most highly regarded players in this portal during this session, and he chooses Florida State yesterday. So Florida State, with a really good wide receiving core, picks up another big weapon in Keon Coleman. More notoriety and more interest towards that LSU and Florida State game, obviously from a local appeal now. Keon Coleman did visit LSU. At no time did I feel like Keon Coleman was ever gonna come to LSU. Really, I mean, I think right when his name hit, people had some early thoughts of get him home. But I don't think that was a big of a deal to Keon Coleman as a lot of us thought. I thought it was, initially. And then after learning that, it doesn't really mean that much, he was out there shopping and he was looking for the best deal. And he got one at Florida State. And like we said, this is a big time pickup for the Seminoles. And this is going to add a little bit more pressure to LSU's defense in that matchup in Week 1 between Florida State and LSU. So,
can you imagine Florida State playoff contender? I can't.
What you mean? Oh yeah, man. I mean, they're going to be a top
Back
5.
in.
Oh, they'll be a top 5 team going into that game.
That'd be weird.
Going into that game at the beginning of the season, and then obviously whoever wins that game will have a great opportunity to have their year really propelled into, a lot like LSU did in 2011 when they won that Oregon game, a lot like in 2019 when they won the Texas game. where it just keeps you in the conversation all year long,
Yeah.
right, as a contender. And for the voters, for the people that are talking about it, for the people that are, making those decisions, that's a big deal. And, if you win that game, like I said, I don't think that, LSU's got a great, landmark to go back to and say, look, it doesn't make or break the year, whatever the outcome is, whether you win or lose, because as LSU proved last season, you can drop the game and still win the league or still win the West and play for the league title. And if you win the league title, you're going to get into the Final Four. Mm-hmm. But it does give you a great opportunity to just stay relevant from start till finish. I say finish because, hopefully you can get there. The league, you still got to go through the league, because if you beat Florida State and, lose early in the league, lose to Florida or lose to Mississippi State or, somebody from the West, it doesn't mean much. But if you can navigate the league with that win, that's a great qualifier for, postseason conversation and play. And, it's going to have a lot of respect on both sides. I mean, Florida State knows what an LSU win will look like for them. And, obviously LSU's looking for a little bit of revenge and, understand what a Florida State win for them could mean going into the season. So
don't you think Florida State's going to be better this year than last year?
Absolutely.
And they were they 10-3?
They won 10 games last year. Yeah, they went through a little mid-season kind of slump where they dropped 3 games. Really,
right?
That was, they had a really good opportunity. Mm-hmm. If they'd have won at least 2 of them. Even one of them. An 11-win to a 10-win season looks a lot different. But
yeah, from their 3-6 season the year before that, or whatever it was.
I mean, look, Mike Norvell's got it figured out, man.
Yeah,
they did. They showed patience, which in college football these days you rarely see. But the Florida State coach needed time after the Willie Taggart situation, and Mike Norvell got that time. Mm-hmm. Look, he was on the ropes last year at this time.
Yeah,
I mean, if you remember, we had him on, and I mean, his seat was hot. Mm-hmm. That LSU win was big for him, and last year was huge for him to give him some stability in Tallahassee. And now, he's got a really good team. He's got a team that's going to be expected to compete for the ACC and, possibly a college football Final Four. So, I think that, again, this opening game is going to be awesome. It's going to be just so intriguing, so much interest, and, hopefully you can get there with both teams really healthy and get this thing kicked off the right way for college football season. Another story that came out yesterday about the
lost to Wake, NC State, and Clemson.
What's that? Yeah,
in a row.
Those were their losses.
I mean,
yeah,
they're right? three drops in the middle of the year. I mean, like it was.
It's like,
Seat
what
got warm
happened?
again.
Yeah, it was like, wow, how the hell did that happen, man?
I guess it's probably good for LSU that they righted the ship in terms of just last year, where you look at that loss and the way LSU season was trending, because LSU obviously got hot after that game, and you started looking at after you beat Bama, maybe back during the playoff, and Florida State winning 10 games, or at that point having a winning record, 8 and whatever. Mm-hmm. You probably are like, oh, okay, that's a quality loss now, and that's something that you would, if LSU doesn't win the game, that's something that you want Florida State to be good. Again.
Absolutely, yeah, right. I mean, like you want the quality of the win to always stay. When Florida State started losing those games, that was bad for LSU.
Yeah,
right.
You want that loss to be against somebody that's a contender, and it feels like both of these teams are going into the season. A lot can change in a college football year.
Why are they the opener for the second year in a row, though? Why is this 2 years in a row LSU?
It's not a contract.
State?
It's not a home and home. Like, Florida State comes here one year, and then LSU will travel back to that. I mean, which they're calling neutral site. You know, I mean, Orlando is like what New Orleans is to Baton Rouge. So, I mean, it's
but is that typical? Like,
I mean,
to play the same team,
no program is going to agree to, we're not just going to come there.
Right.
Like, you got to repay us. We want to make the money too. I mean, that was a big hit for both schools. But LSU, I mean, they saw the biggest boost of it because of Louisiana's hotels, merchandise, food, restaurants, all of that was where the money was being spent. now Florida's and, Florida State, Orlando saying, okay, now we know y'all travel well.
Right.
We know y'all spend a lot of money. Come bring that over here to
I wonder
our
if it'll
place.
be the same, though. Will there be as many, crazy Florida State fans in
Hell,
Orlando
there'll be
as
more.
it was, LSU in New Orleans?
There'll be more. I mean,
You think so?
Yeah, this is a playoff game.
Yeah.
This is a playoff game in week 1. I mean, this is going to be I've said, for a while now, I believe it's going to be a top 5 matchup. If it's not, it's going to be a top 7 matchup at the very least. It's by itself. It's in prime time. It was announced yesterday again. I believe it was yesterday that Bonnet sent out the media release, the press release, saying that ABC's picked it up. It's in its own slot. I mean, you're going to have, it's going to have women Final Four numbers on it. It's going to be 10 to 12 million people.
What time zone is that, though? I think it was it a 6 o'clock game?
6:30 in Orlando would be
Okay.
would be an Eastern.
That's Eastern.
Yeah, so it would be a 5:30 Central kick.
But I mean, it's
Oh, it's
a
gonna take
Sunday.
forever, too.
It's a
Yeah,
Sunday,
it's
so
Sunday.
that's good.
Sunday.
Even though it's
Should be
Labor Day.
It's going to be a 3-hour affair.
Yeah.
It means nothing here.
Right.
So it's going to be phenomenal. Another story I saw around college football yesterday that again gives me a little bit of energy around LSU again is just how desperate Saban is to find a quarterback. I mean, this guy is trying to sleep with every scrub in town. I mean, for a dude who's always been courting 4 and 5 stars and been up in New York City collecting Heisman trophies and first-round picks, this guy is shopping in the gutter for quarterbacks. Now, I would like to know what the Nussmeier conversation was like with Alabama, because it's no coincidence that our boy Gordon McKernan, who has become a huge crawl in Nick Saban's ass and has really literally built the fence around Louisiana for him just with Gordon McKernan billboards flashing over to the state of Alabama, blinking at him, letting him know, you want Kayshawn? You want Nussmeier? Forget about it, you bum. Stay out of here.
Times have changed.
Go look for Tyler Buchanan
Butler.
or Tyler Van Dyke.
A lot of Tylers.
A lot of Tylers. This guy, Tyler Van Dyke, is maybe worse than Tyler Buckner. And Buckner's terrible. I mean, I've gone back and watched a little bit of Buckner film from Notre Dame.
At 6:30.
Just trying to figure out hang on. So this is the quarterback that Alabama has moved all of their chips into the corner on. Is this guy here? Even when Reese was calling the plays for him up at the Golden Dome, he looked like he had 2 left feet. Welcome to the SEC, Tyler. Before they landed on Buckner, Saban and the Alabama staff were sniffing around Tyler Van Dyke at Miami. I mean, have you seen this bum play? He can't play dead in a Western. And Alabama's trying to throw NIL deals at this guy because they don't have a quarterback in sight. This Saban desperation tour that he's on to find a quarterback has been one of the most refreshing, relieving, and comical thing that I've seen in a while coming out of Tuscaloosa. It's just been a long time. How many times has LSU been in this scenario? Not having the luxury of the transfer portal, but just been in a situation where you look at your quarterback room and you're like, ugh.
I wish the
I mean,
portal
look at all
existed.
these pros. You got all these guys, all these pros falling out of the DB room. You got pros dripping out of the wide receiver room. Defensive tackles are going in the first round, and you got me at quarterback.
Dorsey.
Tyler Van Dyke, Tyler Buchanan. I mean, Bama is at least putting signs off that they're in trouble at quarterback. Big, big trouble. I mean, if they're shopping these clowns in the portal and throwing NIL deals at these cats, what do you think that conversation was like with Nussmeier? I mean, how desperate do you think Saban was on the other end? Well, he can't talk to him before he gets in the portal. Come on. Wake up. It's still recruiting. They're still breaking rules. I mean, just because you can pay them now doesn't mean that they're still talking to him in the windows that they're supposed to be talking to him in. At some point, Saban made contact to Nussmeier, and this is just me alleging. I don't know this for a fact, but if he's looking for Tyler Van Dyke and accepting, what's his name? Buchanan? Tyler Buchanan from Notre Dame? You don't think that he? Yeah, you do. Saban doesn't.
Is he
Look
really,
at this. Here's your
really
here's your
that scared?
Simpson.
Oof.
There's a reason they're shopping.
Aw.
Yeah, I know it hurts to see, doesn't it?
Tyler.
This is the worst throw of them all. So that's why they're going after Tyler's,
I
because
love
he saw that spring game. He goes, we can't play with these two.
Get some Tylers in here.
Yeah, I
Fix
love it.
this.
We can get a Tyler, Texas.
I mean, I've just, especially with LSU's situation, where they're sitting in the quarterback room, which I believe the only team I saw in spring that looked competitive to LSU's quarterback room, and again, the only teams that I watched were the ones that I saw on ESPN. I just saw a couple of spring games. I watched a lot of the league on SEC Network, and I saw Texas on ESPN, and I thought Texas's quarterbacks were really impressive. Quinn Ewers is the starter. Malik Murphy as the backup is a stud. He's another one that I imagine his phone was blowing up after his spring game. If you didn't see his spring game, I mean, he put on. And I thought for sure this guy, he in no way he's staying at Texas. And then you got Arch, and there's no expectation for Arch to play. I mean, after watching that game and seeing the guys that they have in front of Arch, first off, Arch isn't better than them at all. And their quarterback room is solid, man. And, we can sit here and crack jokes on Sark all day. He's a good quarterbacks coach. So outside of Texas, I look at LSU's room that's in a very similar situation, maybe even has a little bit of a leg up on Texas, where you've got two experienced guys, right? Ewers' experience started, was the starter last season. Murphy's taken some meaningful snaps, and then you've got a 5-star and an elite freshman in the room as well. LSU, you've got two experienced guys that have played and taken, big time snaps in the league and at this level, and Nussmeier and Jaden Daniels, and then you've got an elite, high caliber freshman in Ricky Collins in the room. I mean, it's very similar to, what the the top quarterback rooms in the country look like, in my opinion. And I think that LSU's sitting right there in the driver's seat of, one that, and it's something that Brian Kelly and I talked about in our sit down that's going to come out tomorrow. We will put out the bulk interview.
Thank God, people are dying to
tomorrow.
get to that
but
thing.
that's that's the intent of it.
I know, it's wild. I love it.
Is to kind of build up the appetite for it, and
It's built up.
but that's one thing that Kelly talks about. Is the development of that position, the recruiting of that position, the ability to leave and go somewhere else. Not only for that position, but for others, but, specifically for that spot. It's just, it's a very fragile position to recruit. It's a very one that you have to kind of handle with kid gloves. So LSU's in a great spot, man. And Alabama is desperate. I mean, look at their actions. They may tell you, no, we're comfortable at quarterback. Okay, well, then why are you shopping every Tyler in college football?
God. You think they wanted that news story out?
No.
No way.
No way.
Well, Nick Saban's in Rome. What time zone's that?
I mean, he's
he
probably
really
looking
in
for a
Rome?
quarterback. Because I guarantee you, he's not enjoying a vacation if he's got these bums under center. Miss Terry's over there. Hey, Nick, can we get a picture in front of the statue of David?
They did get a picture.
With
What is he?
David?
Is he on the phone?
No, he's smiling. It looks like he's dead inside.
Aw. Well, he always looks like he's dead inside.
This must have been when he thought he had Nussmeier.
The
Just
4-month
talk to his
reaction.
dad, Coach. Gordon came through again. I'm going to kill this guy, Gordon.
Who's this some bitch?
I mean, he thought he had Kayshawn last year, thought he had Nussmeier this year. Gordon meets him at the state line, throws up another billboard, and pays the player.
It's foolproof plan.
Get it done, baby. Get it done.
Bet.
Oh, look at him.
I mean, it feels like, and look at Nikki.
He looks happy and relaxed, right?
Kind of looks like my dad.
Yeah.
That's not Miss Terry, is it?
No.
Okay.
Who is that woman?
That's Vera Sancy. She's on vacation too.
She's
okay.
Bama. She's tighter.
She's just a Bama fan.
What are the chances? I saw actually. I tailed your plane. I tracked the numbers.
Honey,
He's like, God, I
honey,
can't go
stop.
away from
Look
these
who it
people."
is.
It's the David.
Honey! Ain't no way we had to travel 13 hours to see God.
Hell, I live right down the street. See you every Saturday.
Do you mind if we kneel at your feet and take a picture, Coach?
Watch your feet with my hair.
We named our dog Nicky. Named our grandson Nick.
Oh my God.
It was Bear till he passed.
Yeah, right. Bear's a bum.
What's this all? What's up with these What's up with Buckner?
Yeah, right. Who's going to be the quarterback, Coach?
I came here.
All right, that's enough pictures. That's enough pictures. Keep it moving. Enjoy your vacation.
Came here to avoid all of that.
Right. Oh, man, that's good stuff. All right, we are brought to you daily by our friends over at Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal. They had some rain come through here yesterday. In fact, they had some hail, and some hail reported out in Denham Springs and Jubin. If you're in that area and need an inspection from our friends over at Premier South, that is a free inspection. You can get in touch with them today. All you got to do is log online to premierSouthLA.com, premierSouthLA.com. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, North Shore, or New Orleans. Log in today at premierSouthLA.com. You can see there and get a professional out to you today. Louisiana's premier roofing experts in quality and in service. Residential roofing, commercial roofing, metal roofing, all of it. They can get on the roof today for you. And look, we always tell you if your roof is 8 years or older, you qualify for a free inspection from the pros over at Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal. Odds are you qualify for a brand new roof. Get in touch with them. They work directly with the insurance companies. They make sure that you get all the money from the insurance to get that roof done in a timely, efficient manner. And they will make sure that it's done on time, quality service. They're the best, man. Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal. Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal is where you can find them online as at premierSouthLA.com. If you were hit by hail yesterday, if you had some weather come through that affected the roof and you need somebody to look up there and take in the damage and see what you got, call Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal today. Don't call them. The easiest thing to do is just log online, premierSouthLA.com, and Baton Rouge, Lafayette, North Shore, New Orleans, premierSouthLA.com, Premier South LA.
Lloyd, I like the graphic.
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
your laptop, Jordy.
Good job there, Lloyd.
Look at
Right?
me go.
It's really good.
This old dog can still learn a few tricks
really
once he gets
cute.
back in the saddle.
It's
Forget
weird
where I
with you
cut
up.
my
It's weird
teeth.
with you over there, though.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like you better right here.
Yeah. Well, it's nice. It's a good change of scenery sometimes.
Yeah.
We are
I
going
can actually
to
see everyone.
Yeah.
We're going to take off tomorrow. We will not be here just because of a lack of personnel. We've got some people on vacation. So we will have no show tomorrow for you. We'll be back on Monday.
We do have the interview, though.
But we will have the Brian Kelly interview, and we'll launch that at regular showtime. We'll just launch that at 7 a.m.
Lloyd's like, I don't know. I'm not here.
Above my
Figure
pay
it out.
grade, Yeah. I check
No,
out.
I'm telling you that we're going to launch that.
No, that's what I'm saying. After
7
I'm done
a.m.
with it. My
Yeah.
part is done. It'll be sent off to the ether and dropped by, I guess, somebody. Do you want to schedule it live?
knows?
I don't know how we want to do this thing.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
I like when we do show business on air.
I know. Everyone else loves it, too.
Hour 2, we're going to lead you off with Chris Blair. So we're going to talk about LSU and LSU baseball as the Tigers are traveling to Georgia this weekend. Am I reading this right? That
start
LSU's today. Am I reading this right? That LSU's bullpen ERA
Oh
this
man,
past weekend is this right?
those stats are disconcerting. Yes.
Is that a right number?
Yeah.
That's not a typo?
No.
18.29. Mm-hmm. It's like a college football defense.
It's tough. All of them are bad. And the article is our guy Zach Nagy, and he tries to put a positive spin on all of them, and it's impossible.
That's a hell of a color of a lipstick you put on that pig there, Zach.
It's like working for Enron. Everything's fine.
Right. No, it's good. It's good. It's
Our
good.
Friday numbers are great.
The feds are supposed to be here going through your desk. It's all right.
This is a quarterly report.
Right. 18.29. I mean, I guess I would say it can only get better, right?
That's what he said.
Okay. All right. I guess that is the positive spin of it. After the weekend, LSU has a 6.32 team ERA against SEC competition. Of course, that is
that's with Skeens.
When you input Skeens is, pretty much just buckshots down the score line of just zeros. You're still sitting at a number that's scratching across 6 runs in SEC competition. Very concerning. The most concerning part is the timing, right? The time of the year, when this is happening, going into postseason play. You got to get this right quick. I don't know the game enough, but listen to enough people who know it that believe you can do it, that believe, that this can be turned around and that they're not that far off and, that they'll be able to overcome this. I hope so because, last 2 weeks for LSU baseball have been alarming, man. That is.
Yeah. I mean, there's not any other way to say it because the reason I say that is the stat that you just dropped, the 6.32 team ERA. I was trying to find him listed without Skeens, which is very convenient for him not to do because that would be a number probably nobody wants to see, which is tough. When you got this, so it goes back to almost like the Joe Burrow analogy. It's like, well, you can't if LSU played 3 times and you could only use Burrow once. That's kind of what you get. It's the best team of all time, and then you're kind of trying to scratch together a win. But if there's anything that's positive, it's the way Ty Floyd has looked his last 2 outings. But he gets an unfortunate loss last week, and then it feels like Sunday's a gamble every time you roll the rock out. So we'll talk to Blair about it. I'm sure he's seen these numbers, but he'll probably have a more apt approach than us because I don't want to jump off the cliff, but it's there. I see it.
I know. All right, we'll talk to Blair about it coming up here at 8 a.m. And like we said, we'll talk to Smylie Kaufman coming up here at 8:30. We'll get Smiley's thoughts on the PGA and the PGA Championship getting going.
36 degrees.
Gross. That is disgusting.
Really? Ew.
With the wind chill.
I'd go back problems.
Would you see DJ?
Yes. I might play if I see DJ. I might not feel a thing. But I mean, is there a worse sport to play? Maybe baseball.
Maybe baseball would be worse. Right?
Baseball. Well, baseball. Because the aspect of just standing.
But you're moving more in baseball, right?
I don't know.
I mean,
playing defense.
No, that's true. But you're running.
If I'm in the
you're
dugout,
jogging at
first
some
off,
point.
I'm back in the players' lounge on any cold baseball games.
That would be your saving grace.
That'd be the only saving grace is that you can
put a
find
heater in there, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Is that you can find heat in baseball.
Right. Not
in golf,
you're out there, coach.
I mean, you're in an open field.
And you're not moving very much at all.
Well,
once you get going, it's
once
not
you
bad.
you're walking like into the wind.
Yeah.
It's like there's nowhere to hide.
And it's not like you really can get moving. You know,
Right.
like there are times I've played in the cold where it warms up and you're like, okay, you can shed a layer. But when you first get out there at 8:10 and it's 36 degrees, you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But then when it gets to like 45, that feels warm.
Right.
But there's nowhere to hide. And if you're playing bad, you're in the rain or the cold, you're just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm out here for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I got Patrick Cantlay in front of me that's taking forever. Like, bro, let's get this thing going. I need a cocktail.
Gosh. Joseph Fine III. Joey says, Jordy is awful arrogant to Bama being like 3-11 the last 14. No, Joey, I am.
That's it. Your defensiveness is showing.
Yes,
and Joe Fine's my guy.
No doubt. But I do feel that the Bama, I can feel that y'all are panicking. And look, these are places where I've been before, and by no means am I being arrogant. What I am is I am the beaten stepchild for the last decade plus that sees the owner, that sees the captive, that sees the guy that's keeping us starting to slip a little bit. You know what I mean? Like this guy's giving us no way out for the last decade, right? I mean, we LSU had to produce the best player ever to walk through the program's 150-year history to be, relevant against this guy for 1 year. And to see him out shopping the Tylers in the portal is like, gather the troops. We see an opening. Let's get the hell out of here. I mean, this guy's starting to slip for God's sakes.
Handcuffs are awful loose.
I mean, he thought Ty Simpson could play. He thought Jalen Milroe was his quarterback. Meanwhile, he's talking to Tyler Van Dyke.
You can't get him.
I mean, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just saying, like, whew, thank you. It's been a long time since it's felt like this. I mean, he's panicking. If he's offering Tyler Buckner playing time at Alabama, I mean, turn his film on against Army. It's no good. Or Navy. And I'm no disrespect
To the troops.
I'm just saying it's not Auburn. It's not LSU. Hell, it ain't Ole Miss. So, I mean, if Tyler Buckner's taking snaps for Alabama and you're an LSU fan, it's a good day, man. I mean, you're in a good spot. Meanwhile, you got Garrett Nussmeier signing NIL deals as a backup to keep him away from the competition because you may have a Heisman candidate in the starter. And a year from now, you're breaking in another 4-star in Ricky Collins with Colin Hurley coming in. LSU's in a great spot. Like, well, I just call me arrogant, Joey. I've never been here. Is this arrogant? Okay. LSU's never had a quarter. They've never been able to say they've got a line of quarterbacks for the next 3 years that they can compete with Alabama against. And meanwhile, Alabama's got a 5-star in Tyler Simpson that they're trying to bail off of with Tyler Buckner. The roles are reversed.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, hey, if we're the arrogant ones now, how's it feel over there? You know? I mean, we've been having to sit and listen to your arrogance for 15 years as the beaten stepchild. I hear you. I know you're starting to panic. Saban days and years are starting to get numbered, and his evaluation of the quarterbacks looks like he's back at LSU.
We only say this because we know. I've been through this pain.
Exactly.
Like it's not arrogance. It's just
Joey,
PTSD.
if this is arrogant, I mean,
trying to-
call me MJ, baby. I mean, like, I take that personal.
I'm just trying to help.
I mean, this is
I
a
see the
great
signs.
spot.
I see the signs.
Yes, I know,
I
man.
saw the
Seek a
signs.
therapist. It's about to get bad.
Do the steps.
I mean, if you're watching Tyler Buckner take snaps in week 2 and knowing that you got 8-9 more weeks of this bum that y'all paid an NIL deal to, it's just going to be a long year. We've seen many of them here in Baton Rouge. I'll raise you Anthony Jennings.
Ugh.
On down the line. No disrespect, AJ.
No. Thank you for your service against Arkansas. Great throw.
Bayou Bengal, Jordy Gump fans are bitter that they couldn't get Nussmeier. I guess they are. They've had their pick of the litter here in Louisiana over Saban's majority of his time. The wall is built. It's built with billboards that say Gordon McKernan that are blinking towards Alabama and the rest of the college football world. You want to come in here and steal somebody off of LSU's roster, you better come with a checkbook. And that's just how it is. They wanted Kayshawn last year. They wanted Nussmeier this year. Both guys are staying on the roster.
Big swing and a miss. Do you think that they wanted Walker Howard, but Holstein blocked it?
No. Holstein doesn't have that power yet.
But he's saying if you get him, I'm walking.
No way.
That goes back a long way.
I met Holstein.
I think we're speaking a little too early.
I wouldn't believe that. I believe that Holstein, he's not scared of the smoke. I mean,
Didn't he already run once?
I mean, he ran when he was a kid. He wanted to go play high school so he could get to. He knows when he gets to a college level that there's going to be competition.
Yeah, but that's the boogeyman.
Possibly. I don't know that for a fact. I don't know it for a fact. But
I don't like it. I don't like talking shit about Alabama preseason.
I do.
This far preseason.
I do.
I don't know. It could come back and bite
Tyler
you, Jordy.
Van Dyke.
Somebody's going to cut this clip right
Tyler
now and
Buckner.
hold
Good.
on to it
Cut it.
Yeah, absolutely.
for the next 3 months.
Cut it. Hey, man, it comes down to players. You playing Tyler Buckner and LSU's playing Jaden Daniels. Doesn't matter what helmet you got on. Jaden Daniels has the advantage.
Agree.
I mean, it
But
comes
we don't
down to
know
the
what
players.
the
Bama's
final-
defense is probably better than LSU's. if you want to, tit for tat.
Mm-hmm.
They got that.
Hey,
Saw those DBs.
I'm not disrespecting Alabama in the sense of saying that their program is done by any means. This is still a sign of respect of seeing that, the boogeyman is taking a hit and that he is becoming a little bit more beatable.
Yeah.
Right? And that LSU is closing the gap more than anything.
Right. I hear that.
Is what it is. And Alabama knows. Alabama knows now that LSU showing up with Brian Kelly, that they don't have this huge advantage on the sideline. Mm-hmm. One thing that they could count on for the last 18, 15 years was that they had an enormous advantage with Saban versus LSU's head coach. I mean, he ran circles around Les Miles. Right? He knew that if for Ed Orgeron to beat Saban, he's got to have Burrow. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, he's got to have like a generational type player for him to really be a threat. With Brian Kelly, Saban and Alabama faithful know that he can go toe-to-toe with Nick. Mm-hmm. He can game plan with him. He's not intimidated by him. He's out there speaking about him publicly. He's kind of smirking about him when he he's beat him already. Yeah. It's something that Alabama knows deep down. They may not admit it, and that's fine. I don't expect them to because of just the pride of the program. But LSU has always been that team to them, no matter if they were 8-5 or 10-2. Sure. That Alabama was like, look, you still remember A.J. McCarron crying in Tiger Stadium. The night that they won the game. Saban is straddling A.J. McCarron. They've shown you through emotion how much they go, just one game at a time. Every game means the same. Oh, really? I don't see you jumping and holding A.J. McCarron like that when you beat Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. Right? It obviously is a game that gets both sides moving. And LSU has had to play with a lot of hoping and praying to see if they can compete in this game. Now it feels like where's the game at?
The tide has shifted.
Saturday Down South put out their list of everyone in the SEC's hardest game this season. So Alabama's is LSU and vice versa.
Hunter Hall, Jordy is definitely arrogant as hell about this. We got Holstein. Some wall you got in Louisiana, Jordy. Well, look, you're not going to keep everybody, right? And when they got quarterbacks that are lined up like they did, you're going to get one. LSU, they weren't really going after Holstein. I'm not making excuses, right? But the ones that LSU really wants, when's the last one that Alabama got? Honestly,
You're scaring people, Jordy, and they think you're jinxing it.
Jinxing what?
The season. The game.
No way.
At least we'll have something to talk about after.
Hour 2 next. Chris Blair coming up. We'll talk LSU baseball with Blair right after this. Built by RMB Builders.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to FourierAgency.com.
Hey, she's on her way up.
Hey, G, I got you something.
Hey, Coach. What do you think? Is this too much?
If you look good, you play good.
All right, then. Let's get it done.
Do you need your roof checked or just ready to get a new roof? Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal has helped over 10,000 customers with their roofs over the last 2 decades. Premier South employs over 300 team members in South Louisiana. They're accredited by the Better Business Bureau. They've been named in the top 100 roofers in the nation for a number of years. And Premier South has former insurance adjusters in-house whose job it is to help get all the insurance money you deserve. So go to PremierSouthLA.com for Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal and get your free inspection.
Premier South Roofing.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. All right, welcome back here, Jordy Culotta Show, Hour 2, built by R&B Builders. Check out Rhett and the crew on Instagram, great social media. rmb-builders.com is where you find them online. We're going to talk some PGA with Smylie Kaufman. Smylie Kaufman will be here at 8:30, but a Thursday regular, this time out of the studio over in a great college town. What a great spot, Athens, Georgia, as LSU is going to take on the Dogs for the next 3 days in baseball. Not sure how that weather is going to look tonight out in Athens for all that and catching up. Is it?
Yeah, we talked to Jay yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, it's really nice here." We're like, "Don't get any ideas, Jay. You understand it's nice."
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
No. But it was
Georgia
like,
baseball.
He's like, it's 75 degrees all day here.
As
like,
we've been coaching American Legion. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Good. How is everybody back in Baton Rouge?
Doing good. Athens a great spot, right? You got to have a lot of respect for this college town.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those towns, you know, you've got several in the SEC that are kind of in city areas, South Carolina, obviously, Tennessee, LSU. And then you got some that are just true college towns. And of the college towns in the conference, for me anyway, just my opinion, I enjoy Athens. It's not a bad place to spend 4 days if you have to.
Chris, last weekend was rough, man. Take me through your point of view of just kind of what you saw from LSU, and how they bounced back again on Tuesday night versus McNeese.
Yeah, I mean, that's putting it mildly. It was tough to watch, especially Sunday. I mean, you've heard me say it before. I think I said it last week on the show. I think this is a team that, built offensively, can win a bunch of games just outscoring you. And, Sunday looked like LSU was well on its way to winning another conference series and remaining perfect at home in SEC play. And the 9-run lead wasn't enough. And you lose 14-13 in back-to-back games where obviously the bullpen not performing the way that Coach Johnson wants it to perform, or I'm sure themselves wanted to perform. It was games where, they just allowed Mississippi State not to just hang around and come back. They just took it to them. I mean, the game just suddenly changed on a dime. And you would think 13 runs is enough to do it. I think most nights it is. Most days it will be. But it's concerning just the inconsistency out of the bullpen over the last 2 weekends. And you go on the road to take on a Georgia team that has been as up and down as anybody in the league. Sweeping Arkansas not too long ago, losing 2 out of 3 to Ole Miss, taking 2 of 3 from Tennessee, who's playing as hot as anybody in the league right now. So I think that's the number one thing. I mean, I think the offense is fine. The offense can keep you in games and can win you a bunch of games. But you got to be very concerned about the fact that you can't hold, leads late. You can't hold a 9-run lead and find 12 outs. And, I think at the end of last year in that run to Southern Miss, I was thinking on the plane ride over, you kind of knew who the guys would be out of the bullpen. If they had to go early, you kind of knew who would go in and eat some innings. You knew who middle relief would be. And for the most part, you knew who would close up a game last year. It didn't mean they were always perfect. This year, I think at this point, I'm not sure we know who those people are on those seats on the bus. And, I got to believe that's concerning, just going into every game, like how you're going to make the plan when you're not sure what kind of outing you're going to get. Not everybody goes in like Paul Skeens and is magnificent every time. But I think there's a little more inconsistency, maybe more so than anybody expected. And that's concerning not only for this weekend, but certainly when you get into regional and hopefully super regional play, and certainly if you can make your way to Omaha.
I'm not looking for an injury update here. I know you can't provide that, but it looked as if I was kind of under the assumption that Dugas was back. The way he was swinging the bat over the last couple of weeks made me believe that he was healthy. That spill he took on Tuesday night looked like it kind of it poked at him. Where he's got to be right for LSU to make this run, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, just when he moved to the top of the order and was able to do what he does, number one, with power, so he's a threat in that regard. But he's just tough, and he's not an easy out, and can get on base. He gets hit by pitches more than anybody on the team, and it looked scary when he made the dive on Tuesday. Good news is I saw him obviously on the plane, saw him yesterday in the hotel, and he just smiled and said, "I'm good, man. I'm good." So it's a lot easier for those guys at that age, Jordy, as you well know, to take a spill and literally a day or two later be okay. A little different for us. I'll take him at his word, but there's no question 100% Gavin Dugas is absolutely clutch to what this team will continue to do.
Yeah. Ty Floyd has been pitching the ball well, right? I mean, his confidence, how does this affect him in your opinion, where he gives you good performances, but his stat line doesn't prove to be wins?
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough one on Saturday. I mean, he certainly pitched well enough to win against any team in the SEC, certainly a struggling Mississippi State team, and it was a really solid outing. And, I think when you look at his previous 2 outings, there were some kind of crazy circumstances. One, there was a tight strike zone that seemed to affect him a little bit mentally. And then, of course, the just sheer craziness at Auburn in that stretch in the 4th inning. Seemed to, again, kind of get him off focus. But it's certainly something that they've talked about. Jay's talked about it. Ty's talked about it. And now you hope that, just the fact that you pitched as well as you did and came away empty-handed doesn't affect it. The good news, again, though, when you're 18 to 22 years old, it's like Jay tells me all the time, a loss like Sunday sticks with him probably to this day, probably still eats at him as we sit here in the hotel. But he trains the players that, when the game's over, the game's over. Nothing you can do about it. You got to lock in. And I think Ty is really learning that lesson. And I think they're just going to build on the positives that he can go out on Friday in game 2 of this series. Because, again, Georgia, just like Auburn and just like Mississippi State, they're going to shuffle their rotation. Not a big surprise there. They're going to go with a freshman who's had some good innings in Jarvis Evans. But he's certainly not the typical game 1 starter. So game 2 is going to be critical, and hopefully Ty can build on what he did last Saturday, because that type of performance should win you a baseball game with this offense.
We have seen names through the year peak in this lineup. It seems as the latest is Hayden Travinski. He's got a home run in each of the last 4 series. He batted 700 in his last 4 games. He is seeing the ball well, to say the least, right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's red hot. I mean, and just it's amazing because I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of every 8 at bats.
Mm-hmm.
He sends one over the fence, and seeing the ball extremely well. He's also had a couple of really key base hits, and you can kind of tell Tuesday, based on that lineup, that they're trying to get all of those guys who can affect the game with one bad mistake pitch. I think Jared Jones got the night off Tuesday, and again, freshman has been phenomenal. He's got power. We know what Jared can do, but you got a guy like Hayden Travinski who did not play a lot in the non-conference, really didn't play a whole lot to start conference play. You get the injury to Brady Neal, the catcher, who had the majority of starts, and then you start platooning Milazzo and Travinski. You kind of want to find a way to keep him in there every day. And sometimes there's defensively reasons you want Alex Milazzo behind the plate. And let's give Alex some credit, too. He's hit the ball extremely well, done a great job improving his at-bats. But Travinski's a guy you got to have a way to keep him in the lineup. And so now the decision comes. Braden Joubert the last couple of games has been hitting the ball well, so you want him in the lineup. You want Travinski in the lineup. You love to have Jared Jones in the lineup. Cade Beloso in the double-digit home run club now. You want to keep him in the lineup. So I won't say it's a problem, because it's nice to have that kind of depth. But it's hard to keep Travinski, either at DH or catching, or as we saw at first base, which he hasn't played a lot of. But I think they definitely want to keep him in the lineup at some position. It may be different. He may play 3 different positions this weekend. We'll have to wait and see.
All stash team, too. Oh, yes. Facial hair is incredible. Dutton from McNeese had great facial hair.
Did you see the picture of that, Stu?
It was unbelievable. Chris, you're around this team a lot. You talk to Jay Johnson weekly, obviously, on his show and throughout the week in just preparation. You get any input on the mental side? At baseball, such a mental game. Where are they from a just kind of mental approach?
It was interesting because I asked Jay Monday night about this playing McNeese on Tuesday and then going on an extended road trip, coming over here, flying to Athens. Then on Saturday night, they'll stay here after the game and get up Sunday and drive over to Hoover, and then they'll be in Hoover. We expect to play on Wednesday, barring something catastrophic. I think we'll play on Wednesday. So you've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, where they'll practice and they'll get ready for the tournament. But I think he alluded to the fact that it's going to be nice to get out of town. It's going to be nice to have some time to, again, with semester over, exams over, that the guys can truly relax. And he thought, it seemed to me, that it would be just as good, maybe even better, to be outside of Baton Rouge to re-energize and refocus and get ready for the SEC tournament, and ultimately getting back to Baton Rouge for regional play. So, I think that tells me, number one, that he probably feels like it's been a long, grinding season. Maybe get away from everything, a couple of days where you a little low-key, a little bit of practice, and then kind of reset for postseason. So I think that's probably the reason why. And, let's face it, it is a long season. And when you play in the SEC, every weekend is the ultimate battle against really good teams and really good players. So I don't think that these guys are physically worn down, because goodness knows they're in the greatest shape of their lives and probably the greatest shape they'll ever be in. But I think overall mentally, just getting away from everything and being just a team and no outside distractions is something that Jay's kind of looking forward to. And he hopes that it impacts the team in a positive way.
You mentioned a little bit of how Georgia's pitching LSU. I noticed that they're throwing 3 left-handers. Do you think that bears any weight in what they look at the LSU lineup and kind of, it bears out in the numbers that they're hell, let's give this thing a go and try to throw as many lefties as we can at LSU?
Yeah, I think that's certainly part of it. And I talked to Jeff Dantzler, who's covered Georgia baseball for two decades at least, and he kind of alluded to he thought he didn't know the exact order that it would go in, but he really did say I think they'll go with Jarvis Evans first, who's had his good moments. But he talked about being left-handed pitchers and that Georgia has had some success this year with their left-handers. So that's not a huge surprise to me. Obviously, Jay and the staff take a look at how this lineup. I think, will it affect the lineup? Maybe slightly based on the analytics from each of their pitchers. But you kind of know who the big boppers are for LSU. And, sometimes you just got to avoid, thinking too much about that matchup and just knowing a guy knows how to use the bat when he gets to the plate. So I think just like a lot of LSU fans, I'll be interested to see the way the lineup is written up. I think the front five are going to be the same we've always seen. But it'll be interesting to see how they line up the backside of the order, not only tonight but for the rest of the weekend.
And assuming everything goes according to plan, I know you can't assume much in baseball, but if LSU is able to take 2 of 3 at Georgia, what do you think their approach is going into the SEC tournament?
I think there's something to be said, guys, I think, for actually trying to give some guys opportunities to get momentum, to get some confidence. I think that was a little bit of what we saw on Tuesday, because my inclination going into that game was, because we threw so many guys this past weekend, we'll probably see maybe 9 pitchers if we play 9 innings. And then I met with Jay before the game, and he said, hey, Blake's going to get the start, and we're going to let him go. We're going to see if he can extend a little bit. And so that was surprising, but then it made sense.
Right.
I mean, he pitched pretty well on Sunday, didn't have a long outing in relief, but showed some signs of being able to throw strikes, because right now that's been the problem for the bullpen. So I think there may be a little bit of that approach in Hoover. I mean, I'm not saying they're not going to win or they don't want to go over there and win games. But I think, when you look at regional, super regional, and obviously trying to win a title in Omaha, which Jay knows how difficult that is, it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see a whole lot of pitching to try to, again, get some confidence and get some good outings, because goodness knows you're going to need them in I hate to say this, you're going to need them in more important spots than in Hoover.
5 o'clock Central Time, first pitch for you down here in Baton Rouge, as that'll be a 4:30 pregame for you on the LSU Sports Radio Network. The Golden Pipes of Chris Blair will be dialing us in and keeping us up to speed on the 3 games this weekend in Athens. Have a great call, Chris. Enjoy the weekend.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good weekend as well, and let's go win a couple of baseball games, if not 3.
Hell yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
We'll see him. There he is. There's the voice. Chris Blair checking in from Athens this morning, as he will have the call for you on the LSU Sports Radio Network. That conversation brought to you by Katie's Restaurant. Katie's Restaurant down in New Orleans.
Work at radio or something?
Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Been around since 1984. Incredible menu options for you to choose from. Whether it is St. Louis style pizza that you're looking for, or just some of the New Orleans favorites, go see our friends Scott Craig and the crew down at Katie's in Mid-City. They're located on Iberville Street, which is in the heart of Mid-City. They also have a sister restaurant, which is Francesca's by Katie's. They're located in Lakeview. Great little deli-style spot to pick up your sandwiches. Francesca's.
Sexy spot to eat.
By Katie's.
Try to stay light.
Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Smylie Kaufman launched a brand new podcast earlier this week named The Smiley Show. He had a special guest, Justin Thomas. Of course, Thomas, a top 5 golfer in the world going into the PGA Championship this morning. We're going to talk to Smylie Kaufman coming up here about Justin Thomas's shot to win another major and the new podcast. He told a great story in a restaurant when Sidney Crosby walked in, and he was at the table with Spieth and Jordan Thomas, and they both sides kind of started to try and one-up each other, sending each other gifts and bottles of wine, and it turned into a pretty good story. We'll get it from Smiley coming up here at 8:30 this morning. Come back with us. Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by RMB Builders.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Question in that game. You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show live on YouTube. Catch it every day, 7 to 9 a.m., wherever you have internet access.
Oh, my guy, the host of Mac and Cube.
You said you wanted me to close it out.
I listen to his pod every day on WJOX 94. I thought I was going to beat Charlie. I didn't. You were fantastic as always. Have a great call in Missouri. I'll see you soon, man.
Thanks, man. Good
Later.
talking to you, Jordy.
Always. There he is. Cole Kubelik, the absolute best. Don't overthink it, ABC. When you move to a primetime slot and the SEC is getting that billing, make this man the color commentator. He's the absolute best.
Ooh, I mean, what a pro.
What a pro.
I remember telling them, hey, listen, my job here is to make sure that we bring, big time football to a small town environment, right? And so you see on movies sometimes about the way a town reacts to the football program and what it means to everybody. And that was the hopes and dreams that I had for the place. And so our kids take a distinct responsibility in wearing that Z on their helmet. It means a lot to them. And then on the flip side of that, our community does a tremendous job of supporting our program, supporting the athletic department, supporting our school as a whole. And there's really a great relationship there that's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Thank you for the access, man. Looking forward to tonight. We'll talk soon.
Coach, wait, before you go, fix your hair again one more time.
Look at him.
Let's go.
Yes.
Here.
Look at him.
What do you think about that?
Game day,
what do you
baby.
think about that?
Game day. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, man. Great to see you. Thank you.
You too, guys. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.
All right, man. There he is. There he is. My guy.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done. Corrects done. Personal injury done. Workers' comp done. Truck wrecks done. Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done.
In 1975, Mike Anderson left the gridiron for the grill, opening a po' boy shop near LSU. If you're from Louisiana, odds are you've tasted a dish, experienced the tradition of Mike Anderson's seafood. 48 years later, the tradition of Mike Anderson's lives on with the next generation.
I'm very thankful. He's never allowed okay to be okay. It's a driving force for me to just want to keep it as good as he made it.
Mike Anderson Seafood and WAFB, celebrating the community. All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by our friends over at Rhett Bourgeois RMB Builders. Get in touch with them online at rmb-builders.com, rmb-builders.com.
Wait on Smiley.
They're
okay.
all
Frost
up in my
delay.
house right now. I'm watching them on my Ring camera.
Oof.
Rats people. Pumping concrete.
Hunter Hall, as much as Jordy salivates over Saban
Dumping
and
loads.
Alabama on this show, it basically is
Are they
an
cranking
Alabama
it out
show.
over there?
They're cranking it out.
A roof?
No.
R&B Builders.
R&B Builders
Oh,
at
yes.
my house. Yeah, cranking it. Cranking one.
Cranking one out.
Hey, we've been telling you about those handy jobs.
Yeah, that's perfect
Day
for
one.
Rhett.
Day one. Not that sponsorship.
I mean,
I've never had more business.
R&B and
satisfied
Katie.
customer. Look at the smile on that face. Look at her. She's even into voyeurism,
Actually, not Madison.
which Rhett allows. He's got no problem. Leave the cameras on.
Yeah, Ring camera.
Watch us work.
Watching y'all.
Yeah, right.
Watching y'all pumping.
It's like J.P. Morgan. Did you see that news story?
No.
Or it could be real, it could be fake, but they got accused of using a third-party website to monitor their webcams of their employees.
They
Really?
definitely did that.
Yeah.
They're way too
Wait,
corporate
when
not
are they
to have done
monitoring the employees doing what?
that. While they're using the bathroom?
No, while they were trying, they were during.
You were hoping it was,
during
though.
the lockdown. It could have been if you
While
left
they
your
were
camel.
pooping?
If somebody was, but it was
During
during
lockdown?
COVID.
Like in their houses?
And make sure they were working.
No.
They were using
No.
proprietary tech to scan their eyeballs and
No, they were not.
No.
That's not true.
That's the rumor.
So they're saying they had a webcam on each company computer,
Mhm.
and that they were using. All you have to do is cover up that little spot on your webcam.
You would think.
Corporate America.
Okay, that's
scary.
wild.
See?
That is scary. Oh my God, can you imagine?
I mean, you know how many guys they saw tugging one out?
Oh man,
Just
or
at
just
the
the
computer?
weird stuff that you would see.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Like-
in someone's
Voyeurism.
home.
Voyeurism, absolutely.
Don't y'all love driving through a neighborhood? And I feel like y'all are gonna say no to this now.
Well, Jordy
I wish I wouldn't
was
have
spying
started
on a
it.
sleepwalker.
So it's kind of like that. Don't y'all love driving through a neighborhood at night and their lights are on inside and you can just see people living their life in there,
wow,
like
Katie.
eating dinner at the table
Easy,
or
Katie,
just
Katie,
what
Katie.
they're watching.
We're on public. We're on public broadcast.
It's not like you're going and stalking someone
is a-
purposely. You're
this
just
is a-
driving down the street and you're
This
like,
is a
you
publicly
can see
digested
everybody living
platform.
their
For
life.
God's sakes, kill her microphone,
Keep going.
Lloyd.
This is a safe space.
There are a lot of
Who get
Thought
free
we were in the
lot of
nest,
cases
are we
being
not?
solved. A lot of
In the
cold
tree?
cases being solved right now
Put her on the list.
by the BRPD.
She did talk an awful lot about serial killers.
I did, remember?
There's an investigator
I sure
sitting at his
did.
desk saying, "Would you listen to this alligator chick?
It is
Wasn't
funny.
there a stalker over in the 808 that kept peeping into well-lit windows?
Oh, watch it now.
What's
Just
the
wanted to
problem?
know how
Just
people
watch it.
lived? Yeah, right.
They
You
keep their
know
windows
y'all
open for a
have-
reason.
Kill the
Act
lights,
like you
David,
would
kill the
not
lights.
think that's interesting.
I
like,
do. It's I
Right,
mean, it's
it's
okay to do at a
interesting.
restaurant. What makes it different? I mean, if
Right.
you leave your windows open, it's.
Mine are open. I don't cover any windows. I don't
See,
even
you
sleep
shouldn't
with-
say that on a public platform.
but your house is too open. It gives me
I don't
anxiety.
like-
It gives me anxiety from the street.
Everyone says that.
I love it.
Like, I don't close my bedroom curtains.
Katie.
I sleep with them open, even
That's-
when David's out of town. My friends
Don't
are
stop.
like,
That's
you're
where you
out of
need-
your mind.
Yeah, that's where you should stop.
Yeah, right.
I mean, this now you're telling people.
A lot of
Nobody
people
knows.
going trying to get
No.
that lawn contract.
Get a ton of sponsorships. Need a
I
new
just-
ring camera?
I feel like if you
Speaking of
closed
cameras.
up in your house, like somebody could come up and be peeping through a little crack in your curtains.
So
But
you'd
if it's
rather just-
open, I can see y'all coming
Oof.
for me.
Coming.
Cranking it.
Cranking it. Come on in. Water's
Right?
fine.
That's just how I feel. And I also feel like if you don't have anything better to do than come stare into my windows from
Ooh,
the
Katie,
street, like
don't
Don't
dare,
invite
don't
'em.
dare people.
That's
Don't
basically-
don't dare the
she
weirdos.
said it was okay.
Yeah, right.
To the officer.
I do cover the kids' windows. They do have shades that go down, but that's it.
Finally, somebody
there
that
we go.
understands my
That's it.
my kink.
Been waiting for this my whole life on a pod. That's a sports podcast.
What a pod!
They're listening to the show while they're looking through a window.
Get my
Oh my
Alabama
God, how
information at
creepy.
8:30, being a peeping tom by 9.
That ain't
What a
like-
true Bama fan, though.
Yes.
Doesn't that sound like a Gump?
Oh
Could be
yeah.
a peeping Tom.
Just somebody that's huddled around a podcast and then go,
Yeah.
be a peeping tom for sure.
guess so.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But I
Just
just
weird.
watched the Scream movies, and that's what.
On their
Ah.
cousins.
I mean, that has to. I know it's the oldest joke in the book, but It never goes away. It's like LSU with the corn dogs, but that one,
Right.
that not even close.
Yeah.
The Bama Gumps is never going away.
Ever.
The cousin.
Well, they embrace it.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, if
Well,
you've ever,
literally.
I mean, if you've ever been there, you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is such a reality show.
It is.
All look alike.
Like it was a spoof that I guess really, you know, I mean, the greatest form of jokes is reality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Right.
Man, someone named Lurker is in the chat, and that's a little concerning now.
Lurker.
Well,
He said I'm digging myself
Katie,
quite a deep
you're
hole.
digging yourself quite a deep hole.
Dig deeper.
What night do you do your toes?
He's in the algorithm.
Oh.
David's gonna be pissed.
He
No
is.
doubt.
He's not listening right now, or he would have texted me.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
So
So he's
he's
gonna get this
busy.
second hand.
Yeah, somebody's gonna tell him.
Yeah.
No
Chris
doubt.
Doyle, I know you're out there listening. You're about to call David.
The
Your
lurker's
wife's
about
out
to-
there giving out personal information.
God damn it.
Address is
Phone number.
Yeah, maybe that one. I was just thought maybe other people would be on board with
nah.
me
That was a
on
bad
that.
idea. That was
No, a lot of
Okay.
people were on board with it, but
Okay.
not the right kind of people, right?
I
It's
guess
okay.
not.
Kenny Balela, if two Bama fans get a divorce, they'll stay cousins.
Ooh, that was a
True,
good one,
Kenny.
Kenneth. That was a good one.
Tough to get back to presents when you see each other every year at Christmas. All right, everybody have a good day. We appreciate you being there. I'm not with Smiley. What's going on here? We must have had these time zones messed up.
Hold on.
That's definitely what it was. It was a time zone
Definitely.
thing.
I agree.
It was all about the time zone.
I mean, I'm going back and looking at our text thread. Nothing was said about Eastern or Central time
Well, if
zone.
they're on a frost delay, then maybe they got some stuff to deal with.
Never
over
mind. Never mind. He said he's there.
there.
I know.
Man, never mind.
But I can't hear him. But he said he can't see us. But Smiley?
All right, we're going to call him.
Okay, yeah. Call.
Yep.
Throw me that phone. Quick break?
We're calling you. Yep. We'll be right back with Smiley Kaufman.
That was bizarre.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
We've seen the BK takeover stuff from LSU and social media, and really in his short time in Baton Rouge, there's been a lot of people embracing his approach to building this roster. What's it like to recruit alongside him?
Oh, it's been great. Coach has been awesome to me because he lets me be myself when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to coaching. He lets his coaches coach, he lets his coaches recruit. So I have no complaints on that end. And when I need him to get in touch with a kid, he's there for me. The communication line has been great. He's just been nothing but supportive.
Do you need your roof checked or just ready to get a new roof? Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal has helped over 10,000 customers with their roofs over the last 2 decades. Premier South employs over 300 team members in South Louisiana. They're accredited by the Better Business Bureau. They've been named in the top 100 roofers in the nation for a number of years. And Premier South has former insurance adjusters in-house whose job it is to help get all the insurance money you deserve. So go to PremierSouthLA.com for Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal and get your free inspection.
Premier South Roofing.
As always, built by our friends over at RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois. Easy to get in touch with them on Instagram. I know that we just had a housewife jump into the chat or text into Katie.
Attorney. She's not a housewife.
She is.
But she is
more antiquated.
Well, that's not who I was
Jordy.
talking about,
She
Katie.
is
I was
the-
talking about the other one.
She is
other
the wife
housewife
of
that
a
was
listener.
listening.
She is the wife of a listener and
For
a friend.
God's sakes. Sorry.
Stay at home dad.
Just call Rhett and get that renovation done. If you're looking for a new podcast, I suggest Smiley Kaufman's new podcast. It's awesome. It's called The Smiley Show. His special guest, Justin Thomas, on earlier this week. These guys are great friends. They're great storytellers. It's a lot of laughs. It's a lot of insight on the tour, a lot of insight on the game. Smiley's blowing up, man. He's doing a great job covering the game. Like I said, I mean, this crew of Thomas and Smylie Kaufman and Jordan Spieth and Ricky Fowler and just this age demographic have really kind of captivated an audience of golf. PGA Championship opens up today in Rochester, so we're going to go up there. We were hoping a video link up with Smiley, but we had some technical difficulties on our end, so we got him on the phone. Smiley, good morning. How are you, buddy?
What's happening, my man? I appreciate you having on and mentioning that podcast. I appreciate you mentioning that. And actually, the Sam Burns episode dropped early this morning. So
nice.
What LSU Tigers can listen to that episode. Sam Burns talks a lot about golf. We talked Baton Rouge bars. We talked best game in Death Valley. So there's some interesting tidbits for some LSU fans for sure.
What was his one seed on Baton Rouge bars?
What I should have asked him is like, what is your favorite bars when you were in school? Sure. And then what were your favorite bars when you're out of school? Mm-hmm. So the answer he gave me was when he was there. So he gave me Bogey's, Fred's, Reggie's, and then Uncle Earl's. So those were the four that he mentioned. But the thing is, now it's like reverse order. It's like Fred's, Uncle Earl's, and then I don't even know if is Reggie still standing?
I don't think it's legally compliant right now. I don't think
break.
It's going through one of those off-season suspensions like it's experienced so many years.
If they know how to do anything, they will get out of this one.
Yeah, they'll get out of it. They've gotten out of a worse, but they're in trouble for sure. Bogies is still a great one, though. Still.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Check out the Smiley Show wherever you pick up your podcast. I know this is part of Sirius XM. I love the Sidney Crosby story, man, and that's what this kind of is. It's more of a relaxed, conversational, storytelling, information on golf, right?
Absolutely, man. It just depends on the who it is. You know, JT, I had a ton of stories to get to and a lot of funny stories with Sam. We dove into a lot of golf with Sam. I really was interested to hear just what he's been working on in his game, what makes him take that next step to win a major championship and be more competitive throughout at the majors. So it just depends on the person. You know, I'm going to be interviewing musicians and other athletes from other sports, maybe head coaches for football teams. That would be sick. I wouldn't mind doing that one day. But yeah, the options are endless. I love the podcast game, Jordy, and as well to you guys. I love listening to y'all's show. I get most of my LSU news from y'all and Shea Dixon. So y'all do a great job.
Beautiful. Appreciate that, Smiley. I'll work a little Brian Kelly for Jordan Spieth with you if you want to go a little home and home for an interview there. What about Spieth this week? Because I know you're up at Oak Hill Country Club and you guys are under what's going on right now? A little weather delay with frost, did I see?
Yeah, so actually this is the one event I'm not working. It's a CBS week. So I actually have the week off, but I've been following it very closely all week. When you have a major championship in Rochester in May, you can have mornings like this. It was I got a text from JT this morning, and it said it feels like 27 degrees.
So you're probably happy you're not there.
Seriously.
Oh, I'm so pumped to not be there.
Catch a break.
Great. I mean, I don't do well with cold. That's why I went to Baton Rouge for school.
Hell yeah. It's starting to get hot down here, too. It's 90 degrees. All right, so how we feel this week? How's this course set up and advantage who?
Man, it's a big boy golf course. And when I say that, everything is right in front of you. It's not like out of bounds everywhere. It's not like there's penalty areas and lakes off tees. It's all right in front of you. It's a very long golf course. Rough is high, fairly big greens, but on the edges of the greens, the bunkers are incredibly deep. So you're talking about you get down in a bunker on a flat lie and you look up, and at head high is where the edge of the rough is at green side. So you have to have a lot of creativity. But the guy who's hitting the most fairways and most greens, typically that always translate well, but definitely – to me, this honestly feels like it's going to have more of a U.S. Open type vibe than a PGA Championship vibe, just based on the style of golf course.
What's going on with Jordan and his wrist? This is not a good course to play, right, with that type of injury.
Yeah, so he injured it a couple weeks back and didn't play the Byron to give it a week to rest. But from everything I've seen on his end, that he's definitely going to be good to go today. He's been playing incredible this year, man. It's crazy to me he doesn't have a win yet, because to me, he's doing everything so well. His ball striking, which was a huge issue for him, really for a couple years, almost dipped. He may have dipped outside of the top 100. It was, dire times for the guy, and he put the work in, and his golf swing now it's repeatable. He's very competitive with it. He can play creative, which is the most important thing for Jordan. And to me, if he's able to kind of wear that rust off and just the injury that he dealt with, man, Jordan's playing as good as anybody. But the guys that everybody keeps talking about, though, are John Rahm and Scotty Scheffler, and rightfully so. They've made more money this year. They've and just what they've done over the last not just a year but 2 years, including Rory McIlroy. It's been incredible to watch. Some of the golf they're playing is you wouldn't believe how good it is.
Rahm, like you said, I mean, he has just been on fire, man. He collected a green jacket in April, obviously, but right now he feels like he's just got the grip on the game, right?
He's tough to beat, man. He's an elite driver of the golf ball, hits it hard. His iron game this year, in years past, his strokes gained approach, meaning how good you are with your irons coming into the greens. He's had years where he's, been somewhere around 50 to 75 in the rankings for that. This year, he's second behind Tony Finau. And when you combine that with being an elite driver of the ball, and to me, when I've always thought about with John Rahm is how good of a putter he is, and he has a Seve-like short game.
Yes.
So all of those things I just said, it's like, wait, hold on. So he's not bad at anything. Well, yeah, he's not bad at anything. He's unbelievable at everything, and that's why he's hard to beat.
Right. All right, so I know this is the uncomfortable conversation, but everybody wants – it seems like this LIV PGA debate is, a lot of people want your circle of friends. Like they want that group. That's the most popular group. They bring the most fans.
Yeah.
They bring the most following. They're the loudest on social media. What is the feeling, between, I guess, your age demographic? You don't have to give me the view line of your friends or going into what these guys think, but just your age demographic, guys that have made it on tour, have wins on tour, like yourself and your crew, of what's going on right now in the grand scheme of golf.
Man, I would say most likely to sum up the LIV golf thing, I mean, I would say most of the guys that have gone were past their prime, but there were a select few. And the way I looked at it, it's like if you had a successful business and you said, you know what, I've done really well, and I'm gonna sell my business for X amount, and that's basically what like Bryson DeChambeau did, Brooks Koepka, Joaquin Niemann. These are players that, and Cameron Smith, these are guys that could have built legacies on the PGA Tour. And Jordy, this is not to say that LIV golf's not going to end. It may be here forever. We just don't know. And that's the biggest question mark about LIV golf, is that the Saudis could pull this under, they could pull the rug from this thing in 2 years from now. And these guys aren't going to be able to play the PGA Tour. So that was the risk they knew they were taking, but they got big payouts to do it. You talked about that age demographic. Typically, we haven't seen many of those guys go. Only a couple, really. Taylor Gooch is one that comes to mind. Joaquin Niemann was another. Cameron Smith, that are younger guys that went. But typically, it was kind of the, if you're in the mid to late 30s and 40s, we've seen a lot of successful players in the past make that jump to LIV, and it made sense for them. It really did. They've had great careers. They're able to get a big payday, and it's like, okay, great. But the guys that didn't make quite as much sense, the Cameron Smiths, the maybe the Brooks Koepkas, the Harold Varners, that's just, those are the ones that you're like, maybe they didn't make the best decision, but who knows? They got paid.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
For the love of the game. You mentioned, obviously, there's a lot of, especially early on with LIV and the PGA, it felt like people were either on one side or the other. Most of all, Rory taking a stand, and it was interesting to hear his comments earlier today, or earlier this week, whenever obviously leading up to the PGA Championship, where he's almost kind of let it all out, where he's like, I'm kind of done defending this thing. I'm done of grandstanding. Like, it kind of has worn me down, and I'm ready to focus on other things in life and focus kind of not the grand perspective of golf, but just my golf game. How much do you think that's affected him over the last, I don't know, year and a half?
Well, yeah, I'll take you back there, Lloyd. I mean, how well he's played. It's been incredible to carry the tour and to be a spokesperson. That's a lot to deal with in golf. You already
and you have the Netflix
the
thing.
game's hard enough. The game's hard enough as it is, and then to basically be this. He was the spokesperson of the tour, and to carry that flag and to play as well as he did. It was incredible. And I will say, I think what happened with Rory this year. So they have designated events this year on the PGA Tour. There's about 12 of them. And those are all $20 million purses. And to be eligible for the PIP, which is the money given out to the players that have the most impact, so draw the biggest crowds, have the biggest ratings influence.
Social media.
Yeah. So Rory was set to make $3 million on this, but the rule was at the beginning of the year for these designated events, you can only skip one. And he skips Kapalua, and then he goes to Augusta, which is that's just a major. He misses the cut, but before then, all the designated events were let up. It just seemed like the guys were playing way more than they typically do heading into Augusta. And Rory was playing well going into Augusta, but I think he was a little burnout and misses the cut, played really terribly, and decided to skip the next week at Hilton Head, which was a designated event. So he basically, skipping that event, gave up $3 million and said, you know what, I'm good. I got enough money. I'd rather be in a better mental space and to not even have to go to a golf course that I'm just not there. But that's the thing that people don't realize. It's like, wow, Augusta must have really hurt this year. And I mean, he's obviously loaded. That's what I took from that. Where $3 million is nothing.
How much? Forget that Hilton Head tournament, bro. Yeah, right. At Smiley Kaufman 10 is where you follow him on Twitter. An LSU standout now covering the tour, does a great job with NBC. He's got a podcast that just launched, as we said earlier this week, The Smiley Show. This week's special guest is his good friend, Justin Thomas. They're great storytellers. All right, how are you feeling about this LSU quarterback situation? It feels like the Tigers are sitting in a really good spot.
Man, I mean, the most popular player on the LSU team is always the backup quarterback, right? So, I mean, the Nuss bus is always going to be, and it's going to keep rolling to the next backup. But I'm a big fan of Jaden Daniels. I'm a big fan of Garrett Nussmeier. Big fan of really our football team. I love what Brian Kelly's done with the program. He's a big golfer, so I'm going to have to get on the golf course with him at some point. I haven't been back since 2019. Didn't get to anything during COVID. We had a baby about 4 months ago, so life is just like so fast now. So I'm hoping to make a game this year. That I kind of have the Auburn game circled. But I'm just excited for football season. I think we got a great chance to make a run.
All right. The thing I love about you and your crew as well is that y'all are tight with Tiger, and that Tiger loves y'all, specifically JT and Justin Thomas.
How do you crack that circle?
Yes, I was going to ask you, how do you get into Tiger's circle? And it doesn't seem like he likes and respects a lot of people. So how did y'all how are you able to get into that?
Well, I appreciate you for putting me in that group. But me and Tiger ain't tight. I'm gonna just get out in front of that. Like, I know Tiger, but like we don't have each other's numbers. We're not tweeting each other, and but
not playing Call of Duty together.
Exactly. Like Tiger and I, we know each other, but that's about it. And I would say, man, JT's he's been one of the few, man, to be able to kind of crack Tiger and to be able to learn from the best to ever do it.
Right.
And that's the mental side, the physical side. There's just so many things that go into winning golf tournaments, which is what Tiger, he obviously was one of the most talented players of all time, but he knew how to win golf tournaments and winning. And I think that was his biggest asset that people try to learn from him, is how to win. And guys can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't know how to get around a golf course and win tournaments and know when to, press the pedal and press the brakes. That's something that people are always sought after with Tiger. And, it's a shame that we didn't get to see his career continue on with all these injuries, because I think he still had so much more to offer the game, and he still does. But, it's just different not seeing Tiger still play, because I still think he is mentally and physically would have been able to continue to play.
Smiley Kaufman, great spot this morning, man. Great information. Great to catch up with you. Enjoy the PGA this week, as I know you're watching and you're not working it, but great job in covering the game, man. It's fun to watch you on the calls.
I appreciate it, guys, and as always, go Tigers.
There he is. Smylie Kaufman. Check out the Smylie Kaufman Show. It's the Smiley Show. It's a podcast that you can get wherever you get your podcast from. So good information there going into the PGA this week up in Rochester, as the PGA Tour will be up in New York City this week for the championship. All right, we will close it out. Good stuff here on this Thursday. Everybody have a great day. Hit that like button, share button, comment button, as we will be back with you on Monday. We're out tomorrow, so make sure and
hoping to get some good news here in about 30 seconds.
About what?
We'll find out.
Okay.
What do you think?
All right. Enjoy the day. Jordy Culotta Show, built by R&B.